A very good evening and welcome to the news at 6 here on Rajya Sabha TV, where we get you the day's top developing stories. I'm Tracy Shilshi and here are the headlines. In a stern response to Nawaz Sharif, India calls Pakistan a terrorist state that specializes in war crimes against Indians, says leaders of Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Toiba roam free on its soil. Even as Nawaz Sharif rakes up the Kashmir dispute at the UN General Assembly, Afghanistan exposes Pakistan, tells the international community that Pakistan is home to 10 terrorist groups that are threatening peace. Karnataka defers the release of 6,000 cusecs of Kaveri water to Tamil Nadu till the 23rd of September. All-party meeting decides on special session of the state legislature to debate on the Supreme Court's direction. And in the US, protests sweep North Carolina after police shoot dead yet another African American. Eyewitnesses reject claims that the victim was armed and dangerous. Our top story: India has strongly criticized Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's speech at the United Nations General Assembly. Exercising its right to reply at the UN, India called Pakistan a terror state and said that the country was allowing terror organizations to roam freely in its territory. Listen in.
The land of Takshila, one of the greatest learning centers of ancient times, is now host to the Ivy League of terrorism. It attracts aspirants and apprentices from all over the world. The effect of its toxic curriculum are felt across the globe.
A stinging response to Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif from India. In a sharp rebuttal to the Pakistani Prime Minister's speech at the UN General Assembly, diplomat Inam Gambhir described Pakistan as a terrorist state that carries out war crimes against Indians by sponsoring terrorism. Exercising India's right to reply, Inam Gambhir referred to terrorist groups Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Toiba, leaders of which continue to roam free in Pakistan.
What we see in Pakistan, Mr. President, is a terrorist state which analyzes billions of dollars, much of it diverted from international aid to training, financing and supporting terrorist groups as militant proxies against its neighbors. Terrorist entities and their leaders, including many designated by the UN, continue to roam its streets freely and operate with state support.
Minister of State for External Affairs M.J. Akbar also slammed Nawaz Sharif's speech, where the Pakistani Prime Minister had glorified Hizbul militant Burhan Wani, who was killed in an encounter in Kashmir in July.
It was shocking that a leader of a nation can glorify a self-declared, a self-advertised terrorist at such a forum. This is self-incrimination by the Pakistan Prime Minister.
MEA spokesperson Vikas Swarup also countered Nawaz Sharif's allegations in a series of tweets. Swarup questioned how India's only condition for talks to end terrorism was unacceptable to Pakistan. Political leaders also described Nawaz Sharif's speech as a major disappointment, cautioning the government that there was no use engaging in talks with the country anymore.
You know, Mr. Nawaz Sharif has become more and more of a disappointment. This is the same man who had welcomed the Prime Minister to his birthday celebration on Christmas Day, and now he is hailing a terrorist. This kind of nonsense really discredits, I think, the kind of responsible statesmanship you expect from the Prime Minister of a country.
Nawaz Sharif at UN yesterday was at his pathetic best. He talked not like the Supreme Commander of Pakistan, but he talked like the Supreme Commander of Hizbul Mujahideen.
हिंदुस्तान को अब ऐसा कोई कदम उठाना पड़ेगा कि पाकिस्तान का ये जो मुंह है बार बार यूएन में खोलता है, ये हमेशा के लिए बंद करना पड़ेगा। आप पाकिस्तान को आइसोलेटेड करना चाहते हो, लेकिन आप शुरुआत करो। हिंदुस्तान की सरकार ने शुरुआत करनी चाहिए। पाकिस्तान के साथ सभी रिश्ते हमने तोड़ दिए हैं, ना ट्रेड रहेगा, ना कल्चरल रहेगा,
However, India's biggest response to Sharif's speech is expected in External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj's address at the UNGA on the 26th of September. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In fact, India also saying that the onus now on Pakistan to prove that it is serious about tackling terrorism. MEA spokesperson Vikas Swarup said this as he addressed the media a short while back.
Onus is now squarely on Pakistan to act against terrorist groups and entities who find safe havens and all types of support in Pakistan and indulge in cross-border terrorism against its neighbors, not just India. Pakistan must dismantle the infrastructure of terrorism if it has to be seen as a responsible member of the Committee of Nations.
And in fact, let's get you a sense of what really did Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif say at his UNGA speech. Raising the Kashmir issue, he alleged human rights violations there and also hailed Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist Burhan Wani. Here's a quick look at what he said.
Even before Pakistan Prime Minister walked up to the dais to address the 71st Annual United Nations General Assembly, it was amply clear that he would rake up the Kashmir issue. Devoting much of his 20-minute speech to Kashmir, Nawaz Sharif insisted that peace and normalization between Pakistan and India could not be achieved without a resolution of the Kashmir dispute. Interestingly, he pointed out that his country had gone the extra mile to achieve this.
Pakistan wants peace with India. We have gone the extra mile to achieve this, repeatedly offering a dialogue to address all outstanding issues. But India has posed unacceptable preconditions to engage in a dialogue.
While pointing out his country's so-called efforts to achieve peace, Sharif glorified slain Hizbul militant Burhan Wani as a young leader, adding that Pakistan fully supports the demand of the Kashmiri people for self-determination. Sharif went on to say that Indian brutalities in Kashmir were well documented and that Pakistan would share with the Secretary General evidence of violations of human rights in Jammu and Kashmir. He added that Pakistan wanted stability in Southeast Asia.
Pakistan is committed to the establishment of strategic stability in the region. It neither wants nor is it engaged in an arms race with India. But we cannot ignore our neighbors' unprecedented arms buildup and will take whatever measures are necessary to maintain credible deterrence.
With his address at the UNGA, Nawaz Sharif continues his efforts to internationalize the Kashmir situation. He has already written to the UN and world leaders, sent out political envoys to major capitals, and even dedicated this year's Eid ul-Zuha to Kashmiris to highlight the so-called Kashmir cause. However, all this has not even remotely evoked the response that Pakistan had hoped for. US has now asked Pakistan to cooperate with India in probing the terror attack on the army base in Kashmir's Uri. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
But at the UN General Assembly, Afghanistan called Pakistan out, telling the international community that the elimination of safe havens, especially those in Pakistan, are paramount in the fight against terrorism. Addressing the United Nations General Assembly, Afghan Vice President Sarwar Danish claimed that 10 terrorist groups were present in and operating from Pakistan, undermining the peace and security of Afghan civilians. Danish also accused Pakistan of having a dual policy on terrorism, saying that the country discriminates between what they call as good and bad terrorists, and this hampers international peace. Afghanistan's statement comes at a time when India is intensifying its efforts to isolate Pakistan on an international level in the wake of the Uri terror attack.
ما از دولت‌ها می‌خواهیم که در مبارزه با تروریسم تعهدات بین‌المللی خود را صادقانه اجرا نمایند و با برخورد دوگانه تروریستان را به تروریست‌های خوب و بد تقسیم نکنند و بیش از این موجب تضعیف نظم بین‌المللی نشوند. ما در این رابطه از شما می‌پرسیم که رهبران پیشین القاعده و طالبان در کجا اقامت داشتند و در کجا کشته شدند.
Meanwhile, as expected, Pakistan sent 2 junior officials to attend a SARC meeting in the national capital on Thursday. Even as tensions are mounting between the two countries over the militant attack on an army camp in Uri, a Home Ministry statement confirmed that while all countries, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Maldives, sent their top diplomats, Pakistan was the only nation that sent consular-level officers to represent it. The objective of the meet is to strengthen the SARC anti-terror mechanism. The first meeting was held in New Delhi in February 2012. And getting you an update from Kashmir, where the army today foiled 2 more infiltration attempts along the line of control. In fact, 2 groups of militants tried to sneak into Kashmir from different places in Nogam sector early on Thursday morning, but were intercepted and forced to flee back. The army is engaged in counter-infiltration operations across Uri and Nogam sectors for the past 2 days, in which 1 soldier was killed and as many as 10 militants were gunned down. Almost at the same time, an encounter also broke out between militants and security forces in Bandipora district of North Kashmir. Security forces reportedly had specific intelligence inputs about the presence of militants in Aragam village of Bandipora, after which the area was searched. Till last reports, the encounter is still going on. Meanwhile, amid the infiltration attempts and calls for protest by separatists, a curfew was reimposed in Anantnag town of South Kashmir. Curbs also remain in force in 3 police station areas of downtown Srinagar. Normal life remained affected in the valley for the 76th day. Despite growing calls for a ban on pellet guns, the Jammu and Kashmir High Court refused to do so, citing mob violence in the valley. The court rejected a petition on the matter, observing that given the ground situation, use of force is inevitable. With a quick break here, we'll get you the other national and international stories in a bit. Stay with us.
From cowries to metal pieces, Indian currency has seen many changes. The earliest punch-marked coins came from Gandhar. The East India Company at the turn of the 19th century also minted its own coins. The Indo-Greek coins come from a colony left behind by Alexander. They depict the golden rule of the Guptas, with embossed human portraits and matrimonial alliances like Chandragupta Maurya's wedding with Seleucus I Nicetor's daughter.
Welcome back. Let's get you more national news. In Karnataka has decided to defer the release of more Kaveri river water to Tamil Nadu after discussions at a late-night meeting of the state cabinet. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah is now seeking the Prime Minister's intervention into the issue. He also spoke with Water Resources Minister Uma Bharti in the national capital to discuss the issue.
Unwilling to accept the Supreme Court order to release 6,000 cusecs of Kaveri water to Tamil Nadu, Karnataka has decided to defer compliance and called for a special state legislature session on September 23rd to mull over the next step. Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah also met Governor Vajubhai Vala to apprise him of the government's stand.
ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ 4 ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ನಿಂದ ಬರೀ 26 TMC ನೀರಿದೆ. ನಮಗೆ ಕುಡಿಯೋಕ್ಕೆ ಕಷ್ಟ, ಕೊಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್ಗೆ, ಅನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕುಡಿಯೋಕ್ಕೆ ನೀರು ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. We require 27 TMC of water. But whereas the storage is from all the reservoirs is only 26 TMC of water. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಪತ್ರ ಬರೆದೆ, ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಆಫೀಸ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಸೋ ಫಾರ್ ನೋ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ Prime Minister's office.
The Karnataka government has also urged Prime Minister Narendra Modi to sort out the ongoing Kaveri water dispute at the earliest. The CM also called on Water Resources Minister Uma Bharti to discuss the issue. Meanwhile, the Congress party staged a protest against the Apex Court order and demanded the centre's intervention.
From out of the little experience I have of the agonizing times I have gone through, and that's what the present Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has also is going through. So we exchange notes, and anyway, he has taken a very bold step, a bold decision, and I would like to commend that decision.
हम ये चाहते हैं कि प्रधानमंत्री जी इसमें इंटरफियर करें, चारों राज्यों के मुख्यमंत्रियों को बुलाए और चर्चा करके हमारे को न्याय दे, क्योंकि हमारे पास पीने के लिए पानी नहीं है और हमारे लोग परेशान हैं.
In Tamil Nadu, the opposition DMK urged the state government to schedule a special session to discuss the next course of action.
It is the Kaveri verdict from the Supreme Court, and whoever may be the person and whatever may be the level of the post which they are occupying, they should obey the law, and it is the verdict of the Supreme Court. And apart from that, Tamil Nadu is requesting the water which is their right.
Karnataka is opposing the release of more water, claiming that with the deficient rainfall, there is not enough water even for drinking. The Karnataka government also fears that the release of more water could result in another period of protests across the state. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, heavy rainfall has disrupted normal life in Mumbai and Hyderabad, with the weather department predicting very heavy rains in the next 48 hours as well. Most parts of Mumbai are underwater, throwing life out of gear. With the city recording over 104 millimeters of rainfall in a day, reports of waterlogging poured in from several areas. People were seen wading through almost waist-high water. Office-goers and school children were among the worst hit as they faced difficulties in commuting. Angry residents blamed civic authorities and alleged that they were not doing the job properly. Meanwhile, the National Disaster Response Force has been put on high alert in Hyderabad for any rescue work that might be required. Rains have been on since Tuesday night, flooding several areas in the city. Most government and private schools stayed shut due to the incessant showers. Heavy rainfall is expected to continue with similar intensity for the next 2 days as well. And here are some more national news updates in Nationwide. Aam Aadmi Party MLA Somnath Bharti was arrested on Thursday for allegedly assaulting security guards at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in the national capital during an anti-encroachment exercise on the 9th of September. He took to Twitter to announce his arrest. Although the police had asked for 14 days judicial custody, he was later granted bail. Another Aam Aadmi Party MLA Amanatullah Khan was also granted bail on Thursday in a sexual harassment case filed by his sister-in-law. Refusing to grant police custody, a Delhi court had sent him to judicial custody. The MLA was arrested by Delhi police for the second time in 3 months on separate complaints by women. An unmanned aerial vehicle of the Indian Air Force crashed near Jaisalmer in Rajasthan today. Defence spokesperson Lieutenant Colonel Manish Ojha said that a court of inquiry has been ordered into the incident. No report of loss of life or property has been confirmed so far. Vice President of RSS Punjab Unit, retired Brigadier Jagdish Gagneja, died in Ludhiana Thursday morning. He was admitted to a hospital since the 7th of August after being shot at by unidentified men on a motorcycle. His last rites were performed in Jalandhar. International news now, and in the US, after a second night of protests and violence across the town of Charlotte, the North Carolina governor declared a state of emergency. Demonstrations started on Tuesday after the police shot and killed an African-American man.
Protests triggered by a fatal shooting of an African-American in North Carolina. Police officials claimed the victim had a gun when they approached him in a parking lot, a version that was heatedly disputed by eyewitnesses.
The man was sitting in his car, minding his business. I heard his wife yelling down, running down from where they stay. Don't do it, please don't. I looked over here because I'm looking at where she's running at, and that's when I see the man standing there with the gun, pointing at Mr. What's his name? Mr. Johnson? Scott. Mr. Scott, pointing at Mr. Scott. He's standing there like this, telling them, I don't have anything. When they did that, you hear 4 shots. Boom, 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 boom. That man hit the ground, and then they just standing there looking at him.
The victim, identified as 43-year-old Keith Lamont Scott, was shot by Officer Brentley Vinson on Tuesday afternoon.
I can tell you a weapon was seized, a handgun. I can also tell you we did not find a book that has been made reference to.
They replaced it with a gun. That's what they did. They took the book and replaced it with a gun. Because that man, he sits out here every day. His son rides and goes to school with my daughter. That man sits out here every day and waits on his son to get off the bus. Do you understand how that baby had to come home to that?
About a dozen police officers and many protesters suffered injuries in the hour-long demonstration. Protesters on Wednesday also blocked the Interstate 85, where they stole boxes from trucks and started fires.
And I'm a black guy, so when I see this, I'm thinking any given moment I get pulled over or stopped or a cop comes, it's likely I'm gonna get shot, armed or not. I'm gonna get shot. It's been growing. People getting shot everywhere, man. So if you're a black guy, you probably should be scared, because we're the ones getting shot.
Police used flash grenades to disperse the angry crowd. Later, as the demonstrations gathered pace, police in riot gear used tear gas on the protesters, who threw rocks and water bottles at them.
What we're standing up for now is our black manhood and our black people who are being gunned down in the street, and we don't get no justice. So what I'm calling for, and what we're calling for, is an economic boycott of the whole city of Charlotte. Since black lives do not matter for this city, then our black dollar shouldn't matter. Right? Keep our money in our pocket and let you feel. See, we're watching modern day lynching on social media, on television, and it is affecting the psyche of black people. That's what you saw last night.
Scott was allegedly shot dead when officers were at an apartment complex searching for a suspect with a warrant. The department claimed that they saw Scott get out of his vehicle with a firearm. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And here are more international news updates in Global Buzz. India improved its position in the global higher education as the record 31 educational institutions made it to a new list of the world's top varsities. The University of Oxford topped the Times Higher Education World University Rankings 2016-17 list released yesterday. Only 2 Indian universities made it up to the top 400 universities list. However, there is no Indian university in the coveted top 200 list. A Chinese court today sentenced a prominent civil rights lawyer to 12 years in prison on charges of fraud. Xia Lin was detained by Beijing police in November 2014. His wife said that they planned to appeal the sentence. Lin maintained his innocence. The death toll from the devastating floods and landslides in Indonesia rose to 26, with hopes fading for 19 others still missing. Relief teams and army personnel are carrying out relief and search operations, while drones are assessing the scale of destruction from the air. Aid has begun pouring in the affected area of Garud. Some cricket news now. In India let go of a solid start as its middle order collapsed, reducing them to 291 for 9 on the opening day of the first test match against New Zealand. Half centuries from Murali Vijay and Cheteshwar Pujara were wasted. After electing to bat in the historic 500th test, India were comfortably placed at 154 before a disciplined bowling effort from New Zealand, complemented by some bad batting from the Indian middle order, saw 4 wickets gone for 16 runs. Left-arm spinner Mitchell Santner rocked the top order, while Trent Boult was also menacing, finishing with figures of 3 for 57 in 17 overs. The Green Park track was not a rank turner on the first day itself, but it did offer some assistance to the spinners. Indian batsmen have struggled against spin in recent times.
You just mentally feel you got to do something different because you've got a new ball. And you can see with that.
Meanwhile, triumphant Paralympic athletes were given a rousing reception in New Delhi on Thursday as they returned home after delivering India's best ever performance at the recently concluded Rio Games. Gold medalists Devendra Jajaria and Mariyappan Thangavelu, bronze medalist Varun Singh Bhati were greeted by drum beats, Indian flags and loud cheers from fans. Jajaria set a new world record in javelin throw at Rio with his 63.97 meters. With this, the athlete bettered, in fact, his own record of 62.15 meters set at the 2004 Athens Paralympics. Thangavelu and Bhati bagged the gold and bronze respectively in the men's high jump T42 event. The fourth medal, silver, was won by shot putter Deepa Malik, who returned home last week to a similar reception. India had sent its largest ever contingent of 19 athletes to the Paralympics, finishing 43rd with 2 golds and a silver and a bronze each.
बहुत शानदार वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड के साथ गोल्ड मेडल लेना मेरे देश के लिए मुझे बहुत खुशी है। मैं मानता हूं
अनबिलीवेबल सपोर्ट है आज हमारे बहुत खुशी है हमें
आज हमारे पूरे देश के अंदर एक खुशी का वातावरण है कि पैरालंपिक्स के अंदर हमने 4 पदक जीते हैं और मैं समझता हूं कि इन्होंने देश का नाम बड़ा रोशन किया है.
And let's get you some more updates from the world of sports in Sports Beat. Rio Olympics quarterfinalist K. Srikanth emerged as the lone Indian survivor at the Japan Open as they reached the quarterfinals of the men's singles competition. Srikanth's victory, however, was bittersweet as his match against compatriot Ajay Jairam was stopped midway after the latter injured his left ankle. Jairam then retired. Srikanth will now face Germany's Mark Zwiebler. India added 5 more medals, including 3 gold, to swell its tally to 23 on day 4 of the ISSF Junior World Cup. India won 2 team gold medals in the men's and women's 25 meters pistol events, while the third gold came through Ehnad Javanda in the individual men's 25 meters pistol competition. Gurmeet won a silver to make it an Indian 1-2 in the men's 25 meters pistol event. In the women's 25 meters pistol event, Chinky Yadav, Gauri Shiran and Sanjana Shairawat won the gold with a combined score of 1,701. Iran recorded a convincing 3-0 win to oust the 10-man India team from the AFC U16 Football Championship. Iran controlled proceedings throughout the match with Mohammad Ghaderi scoring in the 23rd minute, while Mohammad Sharifi was on target twice later. With this win, Iran, along with the UAE, made it to the quarterfinals along with Japan, Uzbekistan and North Korea. India and Saudi Arabia finished the competition with a point each. A ruptured adductor has ruled Lionel Messi for the next 3 weeks, with Barcelona manager Luis Enrique claiming the blow means football losses. Messi limped out of Barcelona's 1-1 draw with Atletico Madrid on Wednesday night just before the hour mark. He now faces a race against time to be fit for the Champions League clash with Manchester City at Nou Camp on the 19th of October. Manchester United has set up an English Football League Cup showdown as both came through their third-round ties. United won 3-1 at the third-tier Northampton Town, while holders City prevailed 2-1 at Swansea City. United's victory was a welcome tonic for manager Jose Mourinho and his team following consecutive losses to Manchester City, Feyenoord and Watford. That's all we have for you on the news at 6. Thank you so much for joining us.